Hey everyone, this is Randy from BibleBuyingGuide.com. Today I'm taking a look at the Notetakers Red Letter Lambskin Edition from the KJV Store. Comes in this nice little red box. I like that. I like Bibles that come in a box. I store mine in a box. Sometimes I carry them in a box, but that's not ideal, but I do anyway. But this is lambskin. It's really nice and soft. It has an elegant green to it. I like that. It's not a deep, rich green, but it's there. I like it. Just a nice little texture. Let's see, on the spine we have Holy Bible, Red Letter, King James Version, Notetakers Edition, and the KJV Store logo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spine ribs. And they're not too large. They look nice. Everything looks nice about this. Perimeter stitching. It does have the little etching around the perimeter there for the little design. Edge lined. There's the edge line tab. So this thing should last a long time. Smythe sewn, of course, lambskin. And this is a synthetic liner, but you could convince me that's leather almost. That does look and feel like leather. This is super soft. I like it. But it doesn't feel so flimsy or floppy. I mean, it's floppy enough. I mean, you can do what you want to do with it, but still. And then, of course, that's why it's called a Notetakers, because it has 2.5-inch margin, wide margins on the outside, 11-point font, really nice dark font. I love that font. Nice typeface. The paper itself is 22 pounds, which comes in around 33 GSM in that range. Really nice and opaque. Does get a slight glare under certain lighting, but not all lighting. It's not that bad though. Not bad enough to keep me from using it. But across the top we've got, pull it back up here, you can see it. We've got the book name and chapter number. Then across the bottom we've got the page number. 2 ribbons. They're a little thin. I personally like thin ribbons because it's easier to use when you're preaching. And they're long enough to pull to the corner and open, but they're not so wide that they get in the way when you turn this page. So you see how that'll have a little bit of spacing there where it kind of gets in the way. It's not quite so bad with a thinner ribbon, so I kind of prefer thinner ribbons when I'm preaching. This is an excellent preaching Bible, speaking of preaching. But the text itself doesn't bend really far into the gutter because it does have a wide enough inner margin to keep it out of the gutter. It lays flat, not just open, but flat. Speaking of open, let's take a look at how it stays open. Right there. This is beautiful. So in the front, we've got several end sheets. There's our threading. Several end sheets. This is glued together like this on purpose because the tab is there, the edge line tab. So you'll see this glued that way. That's on purpose. That builds the structure of this Bible. This thing is it just stays open well. So we have our family records, marriages, children, deaths. This one's in black, the rest are in blue. And then we have our Notetakers, Red Letter Edition, KJV Store logo. John 1:1, that is the KJV Store's verse for their business that they've chosen. I like that company does that. That's nice. Translators to the reader, nice and large. I like that too. I like when they include translators to the reader because that's an important document. And let's see. Paper's not as hard to turn as I'm making it look. But let's see, we have epistle dedicatory to James, and then we have the index. Funny thing about an index, it shows you where everything is. So if you can't find it, go to the index. And then we have the book of Genesis. It stays open beautifully. You can write outlines. 2,000 pages. Let's see how many pages we got. In the back, we've got maps and a couple of pages for notes. I'll show you the red letter in just a minute. But we've got, there's the red letter. So we got 2017 pages. That's what the red looks like. It's not real dark. It's about a medium darkness. And it seems to be consistent throughout. I might see a little bit of variation, but not much. Just enough to mention. Just barely enough to mention. It's not bad. Books start on a new page. So that gives you a little bit of note space at the end of books. But what I was saying about 2,000 pages, 2017, if you create outlines and put an outline on each page for sermons or whatever, that's 2017 sermons. So let's say if it takes 2 pages, okay, you got 1,000 something. That's amazing. But there's the red again. Looks really sharp. And then back to these maps. I sidetracked myself. We've got 6 pages for notes, and this is the same as the Bible paper. I'd like to see a lot of pages in the back for notes. That would be excellent. But it'll add to the size of this, and it might be a little bit too much. We have the biblical world of the patriarchs, Palestine political regions, the route of Exodus. It doesn't show a Red Sea crossing, but it doesn't say Reed Sea either. We have 12 tribes of Israel, kingdoms of Saul, David, and Solomon, divided kingdom, Israel and Judah, Assyrian Empire, Babylonian Empire, the Greek Empire, Old Testament Jerusalem, New Testament Jerusalem. These are colorful, bold. Ministry of Jesus. They're almost a little bit too bold because that's a little difficult to read, but it's not impossible to read. These are the old Cambridge maps, not the oldest that you would see in the local church Bible publishers editions, but these are the previous to the current generation Cambridge, which they use in the church Bible publishers. Missionary journeys of Paul, spread of Christianity, modern Israel, and then a few more in sheets to build structure. But yeah, that's a nice Bible. I like this. I like this a lot. So let's do a few comparisons. Before we do that, though, let's go ahead and take a look at the size and weight. Get an idea of how big this little beast is. It's the size of a study Bible. It's not that heavy. It's not that large. Let's see. 3 pounds, 4 ounces. 3 pounds, 4 ounces. And my crazy little measuring tape here. We'll turn him this way. This is my typography scale. Let's see. 9 3/4 inches. And I'm giving the outside dimensions because if you're buying a case for something, that's the dimension you need to know. By 6 and just a touch over 3/4. Almost 7. And then this way, we've got 1 3/4. Yeah, super nice. I like it. This is an excellent Bible for journaling. Excellent Bible for preaching. Something to study in. Now, one thing I've noticed that's a little bit different between this one and, say, the older, or the, not older, but the church publishers that I looked at. The paper in I'm pretty sure they're supposed to be the same paper. Pretty sure of that. But the paper in the KJV store has a little bit smoother feel to it. It's almost like it's coated. Whereas this does feel smooth, but it has a slightly rougher feel. It could be that we're talking about a different lot, and it could be different paper. I don't know that for a fact. But the paper feels so similar that I think it's the same paper. I can't prove that. I didn't ask. I didn't check. I did not do what I call Gimba and go to the source. But they do seem to be very similar. But this one, it does feel a touch smoother. Now, I haven't written in this one yet. I will, but I have another project in mind for that. But the paper is similar enough to this one that I think seeing the writing in this one would give you an idea of what it looks like to write on this paper. So there's both sides. This is using Pigma microns. Now, comparing the covers, this lambskin versus this ironed calfskin, this just feels more elegant. The lambskin feels a little bit thicker. Not much, but just a little. It's a little bit more flexible. Again, not a lot. It's not a big difference, but the lambskin just feels more elegant. Feels softer to the touch. The grain it still looks ironed like this one to a degree, but it has a little bit more texture to it. It just feels a little bit more elegant. I do like that lambskin, so I highly recommend this. Now, I did receive this in exchange for an honest review from the KJV store. I highly recommend buying this from the KJV store. And if you want some information, about marking in this, please check out my book, Easy Bible Marking Guide. You can get this on Amazon. I'll post a link in the notes. And if you have any questions, please let me know.